We are live and welcome to the Transfer Exchange Show, the review. And what a turnout we have this week. We have got a full panel. And look, I can't even call him a guest anymore. He's one of the part of the team. It's Nathan Ellington. How you doing, Nathan?
Yeah, not too bad. A bit bored not getting to see United play this week. But again, we do have a few international games, so at least
international. It's a bit of a lull, isn't it? It's a bit painful, but I mean, it is what it is. I wish they did do it right now with all the COVID going around, but we got through it. Football will be back soon. We've got our regular chief scout, and some would say fans' favourite. Recently, got a message from one of my mates who said, "Loving the show. You boys are stepping it up every week." I've got to say, Steve is my favourite.
Cheers.
Yeah, that was the last time I spoke to him. I've lost a friend and Steve's gained one, so thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
How you doing, Steve?
How you doing, Kieran? I sent you the 20 quid in the post, Simon. Thanks, mate.
Hey, mate, it weren't even Simon. It was a friend I've known since I was a kid. So, yeah, it hurt.
Cheers. Yeah,
I'm over it. Top right, we've got the voice, a.k.a. the marksman, Jerome Marks. How you doing, Jerome?
Good evening. Yeah, all fine, thank you. All fine.
All right, and next to me, lucky boy, it's the chef. How you doing, Simon Powell?
All right, everyone. So I've got the England game on at the same time. Should have been 2-0 down there.
You're going to watch that? It's absolute garbage. Anyway, we're about to kick off the show, and today, we're going to be asking Nathan some Man United questions. We're going to ask him questions about what's going on at United. We're going to ask him questions about what's in the headlines, and we're going to have a question each. He's got 2 minutes to answer it, and if he doesn't answer in 2 minutes, I'm cutting him off, and we're going to move to the next subject.
Oh no!
Some say it's brutal, but that's just the way it is. All right, and right now Steve, you're going to have the first question. All right.
Pressure.
Mate, you can handle pressure. All right, wait up.
Got the timer on.
Oh, the timer's there.
You got to let him ask a question before you set that timer, right?
Why'd you sound nervous? Why'd you sound nervous? You sound nervous, Nathan. Don't be nervous. All right,
30 seconds. It's running.
Ask the question first, Steve. Button's getting ready to be pressed. And go.
Right. What will be Edison Cavani's role in the team eventually? Because at the moment he's not getting game time.
Cavani. You said Edison Cavani, yeah?
Yeah.
I think he'll be used pretty much just like Igalo was used. I think obviously it's a step up on Igalo. So it's a time where, when you have 2 games in a week, sometimes you can't have Martial playing twice in a week. You might start off with Martial, bring him off, bring on Cavani. I'm sure you'll see him and Cavani switch chopping and changing every now and again, just with the fixture load. They definitely get a lot of game time, I think. And if we play the right kind of football for him, he's one who relies on getting chances given to him, and he will stick them away. So I do think he will get a chance, just like other players in the team. I don't want to mention it because it might come up in a question. So let's just leave it at that one.
Can I just add on that Cavani one quickly? Do you not feel that someone like Cavani probably doesn't need a stop-start at this probably his point in his career? He needs a bit more fluidity with his game time.
Yeah, you're right. But again, it's one of them things where you've got to you've got to be able to do what you can for the team. And right now, United, we have a squad. We've got to say we're quite deep with our squad. A bit heavy in certain areas, but we are quite deep in certain areas as well. So I'm happy that we've got a deep squad, because last year we didn't. We were struggling, like when we were playing that 11 every game, thinking that we just got to get through the end of the season, and we didn't feel comfortable bringing on anyone and it continuing that kind of momentum. So now I think we definitely have that.
Yeah.
All right. Good answer. You done it well, Steve. You was saying the question like you had a time limit on it. Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah, I know.
It was preparation. All right, I like it.
I was going to go into a bit of a build-up, but I felt, as I say, the pressure was on. It was back straight in.
All right, Jerome, you're next. Let's go.
So,
Go on.
so he's made headlines mainly for his, I guess, his penalties. But I want to know Nathan's thoughts on Bruno Fernandes.
Go.
What about the penalties or him
No, in terms
himself?
of in terms of him as a player, like how good do you
Okay.
think he is, and what he
Okay,
brings
so-
to the team?
Right. So to be fair, I didn't know too much about him before we were interested in him. To be fair, so I went and done my research, went online, had a look at what he's all about. I know that he played in Italy, played in actually a more defensive role there before he came into his own, and then obviously went back to Portugal and did really well there. Started scoring lots of goals. So for me, I can see that he's technically gifted. He's someone that always looking to, put a ball in and score goals. This is the thing that I love about him. He's like he's got the striker mentality, but he also is looking to put people in. And that's what you need. You need goals from everywhere. And he's someone that definitely unlocks the door. At a time where last year I thought it was only Mata that was in the team that could unlock a door, that wasn't good enough because, it's just not enough. Now, bringing him in, it gave us Man United an extra dimension. Although I don't like the amount of balls the only one thing I would say that there's a lot of balls that he does give away too cheaply. So balls where he should be retaining it, he should be popping it around and keeping it. But a lot of times he does try to do things like a bit too crazy, if you get what I mean. And they're the times where he should just keep it. And but the times when he really tries, I got no problem with him trying a ball over the top, getting cut out, trying something around the corner. When it's on to try and do it, I love that. So to be fair, if it means to get what you're getting out of him, to take them, them parts of his game as well, I'll take it all day. Great player.
Yeah. Can I ask a follow-up?
Please.
Can I ask a follow-up?
You got 15 seconds.
Go on, quick.
You got 15
No,
seconds.
you can't.
Would he be in your starting 11 every week?
Yeah, it'd be in my starting 11 for sure.
Yeah.
It'd be him and Pogba swapping and chopping and changing for that same position. I think Pogba needs to have that kind of attacking position.
I need like a buzzer.
Mate, you're strict.
Yeah.
You're strict.
I like it. I am strict. You know what? I gave him 0.2 seconds over, so I'm not that strict. I'm lenient. All right. All right, Simon, you're next.
Has Paul Pogba got nudes on Ollie?
Has he got what?
Because how the hell is he getting picked over Van der Beek?
Well, to be honest, when you look at Pogba, when he first came, I feel he did really, really well. We was in a team that transitioned, and they were looking for him to be the striker, midfielder, defender, and he's a midfielder. That's all he is. He's an attacking midfielder. When you haven't got a team around him that can do their job as well as they should do, then he was forced to do a lot more. And I think, to be honest, they asking too much of him. Like, he does what he does. He's just a midfielder that's very good when he's part of a good system. And when he'll get a goal, he can score a goal from anywhere. He can run past people. He can do everything. But it's not like he's a goal-scoring midfielder who's going to get you 20 goals a season. He didn't get 20 goals a season ever. So why we think he's going to get 20 goals a season now? What he is he's good at what he does. And at the end of the day, if we can get our structure right and then play him in his position, just like Bruno's playing in his position right now, I think Pogba can do the exact same kind of job. He can put people in and maybe not score as many goals because I think Bruno's obviously much better in that department. But I think overall he's done a good job for United, especially in the years. He was top of every single statistic when it came to goals, assists, defensive tackle, everything. He was top of them. But we weren't doing good as a team. So they still expected more of him. This year, been a bit disappointed, but I think, you got to give him a bye due to the injury, the illness, and then coming back not really fully fit. So then he's getting overran a bit right now. And that's why I wouldn't have him in the starting lineup at the minute, because he needs to get his fitness up. He needs to be coming in, getting his fitness and his ability back, his sharpness and timing back. And then I'd be chopping and changing him with Bruno. I'd be bringing him in when Bruno's a bit tired and letting Pogba play. And then whoever's doing the best out of the two, they play. Simple. That's the way it should be. But at the moment, he's trying to fit them all in the same positions, different positions, where Pogba is going to get overrun. He's not a defensive runner. How long have I got? 5 seconds. So basically, yeah.
Done. Hey, it's good. It's good. It's good. Hey, you've been practicing.
Excellent.
You've been practicing. Yeah, you've been practicing. Yeah.
I know my own work for this week. Well, for next week, sorry.
All right.
Record the time. Record the clock for bleeding. What's it called?
Just put the screen, turn it round so I can see how long I've got.
What? And not have my face on there? You must be crazy. All right. This is the money maker, Nathan. What are you talking about? All right. I'll try.
No idea who's told him that before.
Yeah. All right, you ready for mine? Let's go. All right, there's large growing concerns at Man United about Mason Greenwood's attitude application in training. What would you do as Man United manager to make sure he stays, carries on his development and doesn't get sidetracked? Because obviously we've seen the issues with England as well. Yeah, and I've probably got a follow-up question to that anyway. Go.
You just cut out. You said something about manager, and then it cut out.
No way. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm resetting the button. All right. So there's growing concerns
playing
about...
for time there.
Yeah.
What would I do?
As manager, what would you do to make sure he carries on with his development, so he doesn't get sidetracked?
To be fair, the only thing you can do is hope that he's not one of the guys like a Ravel Morrison, and just give him the advice that, look where other players have gone with great ability, that have not gone on to do great things, just make him, obviously he'll know that he's aware that he's got ability. And the fact that, look, it's not just ability that gets you to the top. It's ability, application, determination, all this consistency, everything that you need to have, staying in the right crowds and just having the right attitude. And that's what I'd be not putting into him, making sure that he knows fully the responsibility he's got to reach his potential. End of the day, it's sad to see, because I used to see Rio every morning when I take my kids to school. Both my boy and his boy was in the same class. And we used to chat, and he'd be like, look, that boy Ravel, he's unbelievable. I go and watch him in training. I go to watch him. He's that good. So I was like, wow. But then I never got to see him play at United. Yeah. And it's one of the things like, wow, I'm really excited about this player coming through, and he never plays. And it's all about what you do off the pitch, your application. Are you going to be doing that week in, week out? That's what I'll have to do with Greenwood, to be honest. I just hope he obviously continues from what he did last year. He's obviously done well with the goal in Europe. But other than that, it's not really been as, he's not set it alight yet like he did last year. But again, it's down to some other issues to do with fitness and team selection and stuff like that. I think he'll be all right. We don't know what happened on the weekend. We don't know why he decided. We heard stories that, he probably got a problem with a friend member passed away or something. So he's a bit upset about that. So he maybe needed some time. So you never know. You don't know what's true, what's not. So I don't like to comment on stuff like that you never know what's what, if you get what I mean. I want to comment on facts, to be fair. So that's my take on that.
All right. Good answer. We've got enough for two more questions. Or one more question, actually. It's one more question. Steve?
Right. The big sort of thing that everybody can't really understand at the moment is why Donny van der Beek ain't in the team. I mean, is he eventually going to fit in the team, and where's he going to play?
Right. To be fair, for me, I think he'll definitely fit in the team. I think right now, when the team started, he wanted to. I think the way it looked is he wanted to maybe bring him in early. Bring him in slowly. Like let the team that had already been together start. But then he didn't envision having such bad start. Then you can't just throw the new boy. That's what he's probably thinking in his head. You can't just throw the new kid in while he's trying to get things right with the whole team, and then he's going to get unnecessary stick when he shouldn't do. So I think that's basically where it was, where he will get his chance. And I think when the team gets settled, he'll start coming in. I think he should replace McTominay position. I think Fred can do his job, and then the McTominay position there, where you can do a bit of both, like the Herrera kind of position. I think he'd be able to do bits in there. And then obviously when it comes to Europe, he's going to be used more there as well. So I'm not got no worries about him playing because ability is going to shine through anyway in the end of the day. And if all the players are playing and get their chance enough, you'll see Van der Beek come in and his chance will be there, and he'll continue to do what he does because all he does is he's sharp, pop, move, round the corner, pop, move, keep the ball. You can't keep that out of your team for long. You know, you got to put a player like that in your team, especially if we continue playing the way we're playing. So hopefully we will improve that, and then he'll get to play. And another reason why, again, got 30 seconds. Another reason why I guess he's not playing is because we need them two defensive players in the midfield to cover for the lack of pace at the back. The minute we get one of them players playing, we then will be able to play with another kind of midfielder, not attacking, not defensive, but one that can do a bit of both. We'll be able to get him in. And that's what Solskjaer is probably conscious of.
Yeah. Nice. No, good. Yeah.
All right. Hey.
It's quality player.
Bang on.
Minutes. Have I got one more?
God, yeah, one more. I've got one more. All right. Reports are going around that Man United made a formal bid for Cristiano Ronaldo. As a fan, do you think this is something that you want, and what do you think he could bring back to the team?
Well, obviously, if he's going to keep scoring goals the way he has been and still is, who wouldn't want him in the squad, to be fair? You can't say you don't want that kind of player in your team and to rub off on everyone else. The thing is, what he also will bring is that experience to the youngsters. So like the Greenwood, you'll be able to learn from people like him. You know, I've got a few players that I'm representing right now, and I've just told them yesterday, after they had a good game, I told them, listen, you need to look into things like that. You've got all things going for you on the pitch, but off the pitch, you need to have that side. What is that? What are you eating every day? How are you preparing every day? How is your application in training every single day? Are you doing more than the other players? Because at the end of the day, for you to get ahead of everyone else, you got to be doing more than everyone else. If you listen to Kobe Bryant of this world, before he passed away, he was talking the story about he wakes up in the morning very early, and then he does a session. Then he goes, has food. Then he does another session. Then he gets, when he does another session, everyone else is waking up to doing their first session. So he says, imagine a month goes by and I've done all these sessions more than them. It's definitely going to be better than them. So that's what I mean. You gotta think like that if you want to be right in the top echelons of the game. So definitely have him in. Would have him in that squad all day.
Yeah.
And for all you youngsters out there, there's a bit of advice from an ex-pro. Take it in. Knowledge is key. Application as well, boys and girls, if you want to be a professional footballer or anything that's worth working hard for. Nathan, great additions to the show, mate.
Thanks.
Quick fire round. Love it. Absolutely love it. What's the comment section?
To be fair, it's nice.
Yeah, it was good
as well.
It was good. And will you be staying with us, Nathan? Because we've got
for the next. How long have I got? The next. What is it? We got another.
We've got a Norwegian expert coming in.
There we go. Yeah.
All right.
Are we not having Nathan and the Norwegian expert on? I thought we were having both of them on.
I think you've got your headphones turned off, Simon, because that's what I just said, mate. Of course I have. And I would just like to welcome former St Johnstone forward, Norwegian football writer on his own vlog page, Like a Weatherston. It's Dave Weatherston. How you doing, Dave?
Cheers, I'm good, thanks. How's it going?
Yeah,
we're good. Thank you very much for joining us, David. You're going to give us the ins and outs of what's happening in Norwegian football. Tell us why it maybe dropped off the map and why it's back on.
I'll certainly try, for sure.
Yeah. You're also part of the Gambler betting podcast with Greg Browning, I see, as well. I didn't realise that, but Greg's one person I've followed for a little while now, and I've actually listened to a few of them Gambler podcasts. They're really good, man, really insightful.
Yeah, they approached me just earlier in the year, just if I wanted to join in, since Norwegian football was pretty much one of the only ones going on at the start of June. So they took Norwegian football on board, and Greg knew me. He's a St Johnstone fan, and I had played there for 1 year, so I guess he recognised my name and knew I was writing about it. So yeah, I've been doing that for about 4 or 5 months.
Oh, quality, man, quality. Yeah, no, it's really good. It's really good. I listened to your last Norwegian one today, man. It's really good. Yeah, just so basically, we've got you on here just to sort of ask you a few questions about what's going on with Norwegian football. I mean, Norway used to be not necessarily a powerhouse, but they were a team that used to cause the big boys trouble. They're actually the only team that have never lost to Brazil. And yeah, I know. But since 2000, they've failed to qualify for a European tournament. Why is that?
Yeah, obviously a combination of factors, but I think they were maybe overachieving as well a little bit. You know, it's a country of only 6 million people, similar to Scotland. So obviously, I'm Scottish and I've moved to Norway, and it's quite a easy comparison for me to make.
Mm-hmm.
But 6 million people is not a huge amount when it comes to sort of big footballing nations. If you look at the bigger ones around Europe, and I think what I've found in Norway is football it is probably the biggest sport, but there's such a huge following of cross country skiing as well. So I think maybe you get quite a lot of really, really good athletes that will be going to different sports. You know, winter sports is really big here. Obviously, football takes place between sort of April and November. But, you know, the big stars in Norway, obviously, just now you've got Haaland and Ødegaard. But the big sort of sports stars in Norway are cross-country skiers, generally. They're the ones that are sort of putting the pedestal out here. And I think that might have something to do with the reason why football maybe just hasn't quite got to that extra level that you would think.
So what is it that they've put in place to maybe bring through these stars now? Because I mean, in the time where they had their sort of lull in the European game, they still had players like Morten against Pedersen, Brede Hangeland, who were still like highly regarded Premier League footballers. So what have they done now? Because I mean, Haaland and Jens Peter Haig, I mean, they are. I'd say they're a step above already on these players. What is it they've put in place to bring through this development?
I don't even think it's anything special. I think there's obviously a bit of luck involved when you get a guy like Haaland. I mean, he's complete unique specimen. The height, there's a little bit of luck involved in that. But I mean, the whole setup in Norway, it has been really impressive to see in general. You know, I've come from Glasgow, and they just don't have anything like the facilities in Scotland that they have in Norway. Every single town here has AstroTurf pitches that get ploughed all year round if there's snow on them, especially in the north. I just think the facilities are much more suitable for training all year round here. There's a much more sort of community spirit in terms of, because of the geography of the country. There's a lot of sort of small towns dotted all the way up, and they all have their own football teams. So players kind of come through their own teams, and they'll get the chance to sort of play against men when they're 16, 17 straight away. And then if they're good enough, then they get to step up again. And I think it's quite a good system. It's a pyramid system here, which I know that there's a lot of debate about sort of second teams and stuff going around in England and Scotland just now in general, but I think it works quite well here. But Rosenborg all the teams have got a second team basically, and there's a pyramid system of I think 8 or 9 tiers.
Yeah.
So the top 2 tiers are sort of singular, and then you have 2 third tiers, sort of north and south divide, and then the fourth tier is like 6 separate divisions. So like maybe one from the north, one central, and most south and west. So you'll get kids, 16, 17-year-old playing against men every week. It's quite similar to sort of reserve football, which I know a lot of people in Scotland sort of bang on about, was the sort of the reason for players toughening up and becoming sort of better professionals when they were younger.
Yeah.
But I just think I played against a lot of sort of young. I played here for a couple of years when I moved in the 4th tier, and I played against a lot of like Rosenborg kids, 16, 17 kids. And I think for guys like that who have clearly got talent to play against men from sort of local teams, yeah, they might not be as good technically, but it will certainly help sort of the other side of the game as well. So it gives them a nice wee upbringing, I think.
Yeah. There is like some criticism for the under 23s that they're not really getting that experience of playing against men, because it's very much in the under 23s you're playing against people you will be playing against at every age group usually, and then when you get to the under 23s you're usually playing against them as well. You'll get a couple dotted in from the first team, but it's not enough. So I have heard quite a lot that sometimes players that get released, they go straight into men's football. They get that sort of toughness, as you were saying.
Yeah, I know, and I don't know what it was like for Nathan coming through the youth systems, but when I was 16, I was playing reserve football against men 16, 17, and it made a big difference. I was just a wee skinny boy, 16 years old, and getting kicked around by sort of 30-year-old seasoned pros. I think it helped.
Yeah, it definitely helps. I came through non-league, so I chose not to go through the youth change YTS scheme as it was back in the day, and I went straight to non-league playing against men at 16, 17, and then I got bought straight away to Bristol Rovers. Ian Holloway bought me, so I loved that, and that's what I say to like everyone coming up now. My nephew, he was at Bradford City, all through his his young years. And he just got released, and I thought he's one of the best players there. But then I got him into some, the national teams, but non-league teams that with men, and only now he's getting used to playing against men, like big men. So I wish that they have some kind of way of getting these kids exposed to playing against men. I guess at 16, 17, I guess that's the years when you got to do it, isn't it? But don't just have it just under 21s, under 18s, 19s. Play against men from that age, and you'll get better. You get used to it.
I think one of the reservations from the league clubs was that it would be these under 23s teams, because they wanted them to go into the leagues, but it's how low do you start them? Who are you dropping out of that league to put these under 23s league teams in? And it never really took off because of the people that were sort of opposing it. But it is something that would, in the long run, would benefit the youth players.
But why don't they just have the reserve team? Don't matter what age you are. Why does it have to be under 23? You just have a second team playing in a different league. You got a better team. You're trying to win things, and at least you've got a chance to play in both teams now. Or I don't know how it works, the structure and stuff, but I just don't really like the under 20s, 23s, and under 21s kind of the way it is. I think that they're not exposed to enough. What's the word now? Like the intensity is not the same, right? And there's nothing riding on the games, like big time riding on it. So they get into that. The players get into that kind of easy football, and then they go into fast football. They can't handle it so fast. Too fast. So
it's funny you say that, because I've watched quite a few under 23 games recently, and it's very much that. It's like, it's not to say they're strolling around, but they've got that sort of attitude, swagger to them, where it's like, I think to myself, you wouldn't have that if you was playing in the first team. So why have you got that now? Why is it this and then? And I know you're trying to you're not going through the motions, but you're trying to be the best player you are. So you want to keep it calm and stuff like that. So they want that sort of calmness and composure in the player. But still, you need to replicate. You need to put yourself in a situation which is more real. And I don't think that is, as you guys were saying. I know Steve.
I think the best. Oh, sorry. I think the best person to watch at the minute, right, is William Saliba for us. Have you been watching him in the under 23s when he's been playing games? He's not flash or anything like that. He knows he's better than everyone on the pitch, but he goes in, he does a job, He finishes the game and that's it. He's not flash. He don't try doing anything stupid in defence. He just goes in, does his job. But he's been from the French league, the first division, up against the likes of like Neymar and Mbappe and up against Nicolas Pepe and stuff like that. So I've been watching about William Saliba because for me it's a crime that he didn't get named in the Europa League squad, because every time I watch him, he is head and shoulders above anyone on that pitch. But he don't, like, how can I say it? He don't basically like take the piss, if you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
He still helps out everyone else there, and he doesn't think he's better than everyone. He don't act like it on the pitch. But when I've watched these under 23s, like Balogun, example, doing all these trick flicks and everything like that, and having 35-yard strikes and looking at his team and shaking his head like this. I've not seen that once with Saliba, but I've seen it with a lot of English kids at Arsenal, basically. And that's what I'm. That's what I mean. But he's come from a league where he's been playing with men, and now he's kind of playing with kids.
Yeah.
But he's not taking the piss of anything. He's putting a professional appearance on it.
Which is what you got to do. I know, Steve. You had a few questions, didn't you? With regards to the.
Yeah, well, yeah, more than a few, but you know we've only got an hour. This last week since we've been coming on David, I've really been looking at the I don't know how you pronounce it, the Eliteserien league, and the way I've sort of seen it is the way you've just explained it there. There's a lot of quick players who are small, tricky players that are in that league, and they're mixed in with you've got the reputation of the big Vikings of the centre backs and centre forwards. So I get that, but it's a very, very, very exciting league to watch. And as I say, I've got millions of questions, but the one question: how good is this Eliteserien? How can we judge it on the rest of Europe?
Yeah, it's quite difficult. I think. I mean, financially, they're nowhere near sort of obviously England, but even Netherlands and even Belgium. The Belgian league takes quite a few of the better players from Norway. So financially, it's not in a position where they can pay players fortunes. Obviously, again, I compare it to Scotland because that's what I know. I don't think it's a million miles away from the standard in Scotland. Obviously, we don't have a Rangers and Celtic type situation here. There isn't any club which is just completely huge compared to the rest. So it's much more balanced across the league, I think. We only have one example this year of a Norwegian team playing a Scottish team, but Viking played against Aberdeen in the Europa League and they lost 2-0 here. But it was a really even game. And that's probably your third best team in Scotland playing against maybe 6th, 7th best team in Norway this year. Mm-hmm. So I think to compare it to Scotland isn't miles away.
Sorry, mate. I mean, the top team in Norway is Bodø Glimt by quite a country mile. I think they're leading the league by about 20 points at the moment.
But they've kind of come out of nowhere, haven't they?
Yeah, this is going to be their first ever title.
Yeah, they've come out of nowhere because I've been.
Go on, mate.
Yeah, I can say they've come out of nowhere because I've been keeping an eye on Norwegian football for a little while, and it's mould, but never Bodø Glimt, as Steve was saying.
No, this is going to be their first title this year. If they win next weekend, they've won the title. It's been. Yeah, last year they finished second, which was a little bit of a surprise. And they lost their best player as well. He went to AZ in the summer, and in the winter. So it was a little bit of a surprise to see how well they did this year. But I mean, the attacking. If you've watched any of the games, Steve, I'm sure you have, or anyone here. Yeah, I mean, unbelievable attacking football. The transition from counter-attack to attack is just snap of a finger good. Bodø Glimt. So they played against AC Milan.
I see the game. I watched the game. I watched it.
I mean, they gave a really good account of themselves against one of the top teams in Europe.
Yeah.
They just play really exciting football. I think it could well be a one-off. They're going to more than likely lose sort of 4 or 5 players in the winter just because of the way they're playing, and they've got a young group. Jens Petter Hauge is already going to AC Milan after that game. I think they got about €5 million for him, which is pretty good money.
I thought they would have got more.
I mean, that's pretty good for here. Like, that's probably one of the top transfer fees received here. I don't know actually the records, but it'll be one of the best ones.
Was that player Hakon Evgen who left?
Hakon Evgen, he's
went to
very good. So he's I think he's 20 years old now. He moved from Glimt last year. He was a player of the year in the Eliteserien last year. 19 years old. I was watching a load of clips of him today. He reminds me a little bit of a young Jack Wilshere, the way he sort of takes the ball and moves the ball. He's a bit more attacking than Wilshere and hopefully less injury prone. But he was very
tricky,
exciting.
isn't he?
Yeah, and he's not quite kicked on at AZ yet, but he's only 20. He's started sort of making an appearance off the bench here and there, and I think he's definitely one to keep an eye on.
Definitely, I liked him a lot.
So, do you think it's a model that they could replicate in Norway that they've got in Holland with maybe Ajax in producing these talents, getting the next one ready to go before they sell their own to just keep on bringing through to just generate more revenue into the team?
Yeah, that's always the plan. To take Glimt as the example, they sold Jens Petter Hauge, and they've got another one fresh off the conveyor belt, ready to come in. 18-year-old boy called Sebastian Tunekti. Looks like a cracking little winger. So they do have a lot of kids in it, and he'll have been playing for the Glimt second team. I think he came from Tromsdalen, which is a sort of team in the third tier. He's from the north of Norway as well. So he played a few games there, gone to Glimt, and played a few games for the second team there. And he's ready to step in. As soon as Jens Petter was off to AC Milan tonight, he's ready to step up, and he looks pretty good already.
All right. Jerome, I know you had a look at a couple of Norwegian players. If you want to ask David what they're at. Yeah,
so a very interesting player, I think, is Sheffield United's midfielder, Sander Berge. He looks excellent. I just wanted to know what his reputation is like in Norway and how good you think he could become, because without being, I guess, disrespectful to Sheffield United, it looks like he could probably play maybe for a team, I guess, slightly, maybe a slightly bigger name than them.
Yeah.
Small question gone.
I'm not
joking
of Sheffield United this year, but I've watched maybe a couple of games, and he's looked really impressive. I think last year he maybe took a little bit of time to settle in. Obviously, coming into that team was difficult. They were playing so well; they had a really settled 11. But yeah, Sander Berge. So I mean, he's another one that's sort of he's 22 years old. He's played well over 100. He's played over 100 games with Vålerenga. He's been 3.5 years at Genk in Belgium. So he's worked up from a 16-year-old. He broke through at 16-year-old at Vålerenga, and it's a really good place. It's a really good base for him. You get games playing at a very decent level, Eliteserien. It's kind of a middle step going to Belgium. But yeah, Sander Berge is definitely one with a really good reputation over here. They have a lot of expectations that he'll sort of kick on even more so. And I think this season, especially, we're seeing what he's good at. The way he carries the ball, he's so strong. He's quick enough, really comfortable driving into attacking areas with the ball, especially. I think he suits that Sheffield United system really well. But as you say, obviously Sheffield United are not sort of a top 10 club in England. Well, they were last year, but they're not going to probably maintain that. So yeah, I mean, if he has a good season there, he can definitely kick on. And yeah, he's only 22, so he's got plenty of time in his hands.
Yeah, for someone who's played, did you say, in Belgium for 3 years, did you say?
Yeah.
And he's already been playing in Norway as well. He's only 22. That's crazy. Solid experience.
Yes.
Did you have...
How have Norway fans from Zanderberg, basically, when he went to Sheffield United, how have they reacted to it? Because, you know, when certain players go to a different club and it's like, it's either a good thing or they think it's a bad thing and that he should be going somewhere better, if you get what I mean. Because I think for Zanderberg, for Sheffield United to get him, I could not believe it. Because United were in for him, Arsenal were looking at him, Tottenham were looking at him, AC Milan were looking at him, and Inter Milan. They both really were looking into him. And then all of a sudden, Sheffield United, January, I think it was, came straight in for him. And it were like, how have Sheffield got him? Because I couldn't believe it at first. Because I've watched him a few times for the Europa League and stuff with Ghent. And I always thought that he could easily come to the Premier League, to a team like Everton, maybe a Burnley, and just hold down that midfield and give them that next edge, if you get what I mean. And with Sheffield United in his first season, all their fans, because I live in Sheffield anyway, so all their fans basically were saying, we don't know where he's come from, but we love him. And it's like, you need to go watch what he did for Ghent in Belgium, and then you'll get an idea how much of a cop that you've got at the minute. This is like you signing Pogba, if you get what I mean, on that sort of, not level, but that sort of expected player. Because I would never put him at Sheffield United, never.
No, I mean, I think in general, Norwegian fans are pretty excited when a player goes to the Premier League. There's such a massive following over here for the Premier League, obviously. People follow that more than they follow their own league, which is obviously one of the main problems. But yeah, I think at the time there was a little bit of surprise that he went there, but the minutes he's getting is absolutely invaluable at that age. I mean, if he went to United or Arsenal, would he play? Probably not.
Getting out of midfield.
Right now.
So yeah, I mean, it's probably absolutely perfect move for him. A sort of middling Premier League club where he can get himself used to the pace of the Premier League and get settled at that level. I think it's turning out to be what looks like a really good move for him professionally in terms of where his next move's going to be.
Yeah, it's very much about development and making sure you've got the right path and picking the right team, because the last thing you want to do is be stagnating on the bench. Nathan, just like to say before we go on, Nathan, thank you very much for joining us today. 2-minute round was excellent. We're going to have that ready next week as well. Everyone's going to have questions. I'm going to get questions from the fans. You're in trouble, basically. All right. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next week, man.
Guys.
Cheers, Nathan.
Right.
See you later, Nathan.
Okay.
Mate.
All right, Jerome, I know you had one more player to ask David about.
Yeah, so this is one of our we like discussing the younger players on here, and one of the young player that sort of caught our eye actually, I believe, plays for a team that Sander Berger is probably maybe one of the teams he started at that you mentioned before, Valerenga.
Yeah,
and that is Odin Thiago Holm, just a 17-year-old.
Yeah,
I read that he, if this is correct, that he actually sort of had trials at Liverpool and Juventus were linked with him, but he chose to stay in Norway. I haven't really seen a lot of footage of him, but what sort of player is he? I've read that he's sort of a midfielder.
Midfielder, yeah, kind of holding midfielder. Keeps the ball ticking over. He's not really played much in the first team this year. So I've not had a chance to see him that often. As you say, he's only 17, but everyone speaks very highly of him in terms of his application and the way he plays. But yeah, what I've seen of him, very tidy on the ball. Got some growing to do though, if he wants to sort of take the next step. But yeah, very tidy midfield player. Sort of, definitely one for the future.
One of the best sort of prospects, I guess.
Definitely one of the best. Yeah, that age group for sure. Definitely want to keep an eye on.
So, what other players? Who should we be looking at coming out of the Eliteserien League?
Eliteserien.
I'm not going to get that wrong. Eliteserien League. Yeah. Who should we be looking out for?
There's a few. How many do you want?
As many as you can. Just roll them off.
I don't think you've watched this before, mate.
I watched some of your show last week. 2.5 hours long. I didn't have
players, mate. Players. Send them over.
Depends how long the transfer roundup is.
Right. All right. Yeah. Not too. Yeah. Go on. Give us a few.
Yeah, so I'll start. I'll stay at Vålerenga while we're there. They've got a young 19-year-old boy called Osama Sarawi. He's come into the team this year, and he's been playing left wing in a 4-3-3, and he's really, really impressed. Low centre of gravity, sort of right-footed, cuts in from the left. Very technical player. Sort of quick acceleration. Just really made a big impression this year. I think Vålerenga. So they got a quite expected to be defensive coach in Fagermo in the winter, but it's been the opposite. They've got two wingers who very, very attacking, both very, very good. One of them being Sarawi, and they scored plenty of goals this year. And I think he's definitely one that I'd be surprised actually if he's still in the league. If he's still in the league next year, because I think there's a good chance somebody will snap him up in the Netherlands or Belgium or something like that.
Yeah.
One name you might be familiar with is John Catalano. He's on loan from Wolves just now.
Okay.
His younger brother, Joshua Catalano, is playing. They play with each other at Odd just now. So Joshua's 19 as well, and he's central midfield, classic sort of box to box, very, very, very strong. Carries the ball really well, sort of takes the ball in the half turn very well, finds nice little spaces in between defenders and midfielders. Just been a really important part of Odd's team this year. So Odd have got a really young team. Actually, a couple of weeks ago they played a game, and their average age was about 23.5. So that's incredibly young. And Catalano's been probably the best player this year. At 19, every chance he'll be moving on. He's been a youth international in Norway all the way through. Came to Norway when he was about 4 or 5 years old from Congo, but it looks like he's going to be part of the Norway national team. Certainly the under 21s going forward.
Yeah.
Definitely one to keep an eye on.
All right.
There's plenty. I should probably talk about Bodø Glimt though, because they have taken the league by storm, and it's not just it's not just a team game. There has been individuals that have really, really impressed, and one that's just got into the national team over here is Patrick Berg. So he's
the ex-Liverpool.
Like him, but without the air. So he's playing holding midfield for Glimt. He's the captain, or he's not actually the captain, but he's he plays every single week, 90 minutes. Really, really impressive. Just character. He seems to control the game from start to finish. He wins so many balls in the defensive transition. Recycles the possession really quickly. Forward usually, which is one of the main reasons why they're so successful this year. Their quick transition has been really impressive. He's playing in midfield 3, but the other two are pretty much licensed to go forward and join the 3 attackers. And
so it gives them freedom.
Yeah, he's just dominated that midfield in pretty much every game he's played this year. Definitely one to look out for. I think Patrick Berg is probably, he's ready to step up to probably a better level than Belgium. He's probably ready to go to one of the better teams in the Netherlands, and even honestly, I think he's good enough to step up probably to lower half Premier League or Rangers or Celtic. I think he'd be absolutely perfect replacement for Scott Brown at Celtic, but I just
the only thing is, it seems like once they go into Celtic, it's hard to get them out. I just want to stay.
Scott Brown. Scott Brown keeps playing. So.
It does. Any relation to Henningberg?
No, his dad did play. I'd need to look it up. It's not Henningsberg's son, no.
I'm throwing you under the bus here. Sorry, man.
There was something. There was a player. There was a player I was looking at, and it's just reminded me, as David said, Celtic. I think he knows who I'm going to say. I thought he was a fantastic player. He looked so good when I was watching him. He's I can't remember his first. Oh, yes, I do. Mohamed Elyounoussi.
All right, okay, Mohamed Elyounoussi.
Yeah. So the one
I think he's at Celtic now.
Yeah, he's on loan from Southampton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
From Southampton. I think he's in the national. He plays in the national side now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He scored an unbelievable goal. Was it against Northern Ireland? I think it was a overhead kick, or it was against someone. It was special. How good see, David?
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. I think it didn't really work out for him at Southampton, for whatever reason. But he scored a hat-trick last week for Celtic.
Right.
I know a lot of people don't rate the Scottish League, but I think if he really wants to be, he could definitely play in the Premier League. But I actually thought you were going to talk about Christopher Ajer there, because he's
he's in as well. Yeah,
very good player.
22. He's 22 years old. He's played over 150 league games in his career. He was the captain of Start when he was 16 years old over here. It really, I mean, I know a lot of Celtic fans don't rate him defensively, but they think of him really highly over here. He's very, very good at taking the ball out. Similar sort of to the way Van Dijk takes it out, but just not quite as good defensively as Van Dijk. Whether or not that's because he's playing in Scotland and he maybe takes it a little bit easier than he should, but I think Christopher Ajer is definitely one that's going to be in the Premier League before long.
Well, the thing is, he's been touted. I mean, he was linked to Arsenal. He's linked to AC Milan. So they're obviously seeing something in him, not just his height, because, like you said, he can play out the back. And I think that defensive side of it is, as you said as well, he needs to go into probably a better league to be challenged more.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think when he plays for Norway, he obviously gets, and he plays for Celtic in Europe as well. He's up against better players usually. He does have a mistake in him, but I do tend to think when I watch him that that's just concentration, and that can be sort of kicked out of him if he goes to the next level. I think he's a really good player. I know it sort of divides opinion at Celtic, but I think he'll definitely. I mean, apparently he was sort of itching for a move in the summer and it never quite happened. So
yeah,
I think it's only a matter of time before he ends his stay there.
Yeah. One player who was previously at Liverpool and now he's gone back to Rosenborg is Edvard Tagstedt. Yeah. Has his time in England made him a much better player? Can you see now he's gone back to Rosenborg?
He was one that I think a lot of people were excited about coming into this year. He's not quite cemented his place in that team yet, though. At the start of the season, he was in and out, more in than out. But they signed a few players over the summer. So they signed Per-Siljan Skjelbred back. He's a kind of Rosenborg legend from back in the day. He's been playing in Bundesliga for a while. They signed Marcus Henriksen from Bristol City, I think he was at. And they just haven't really found the place for him yet. He's been playing left back and he's been playing sort of left wing and sort of left central midfield in a 3. He looks very tidy on the ball. He's very comfortable, obviously left-footed, and just looks like a nice footballer.
Yeah, a bit more nice.
Not quite kicked on yet, but he's only 19.
Yeah,
he's actually from not too far from where I am just now, and he's definitely one that I think next year and the year after at Rosenborg he'll be expected to be getting involved more in the first team.
Yeah, because it's one of them things. I think he actually asked for the move back because he obviously couldn't see a pathway to into the first team at Liverpool. So he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he knows what he wants as well, which is really good for a young player.
Yeah. Can I just ask David about one player who I just kept rewinding and watching again and rewinding and watching again? I'm a bit of a fan of the big centre forward David. It seems like in Norway, there's a lot of teams that seem to go that way with the big centre forwards. I mean, I don't know, Sorleff, Haalands, we can go through, but there was one who plays for Mould, the striker. Omi
Come on, I want you to
Jimfo.
pronounce this.
Go on, here we go. You set yourself up here, didn't you, Steve?
You
go.
was waiting for me, weren't you? You
got the magic sock out and he can't pronounce his name.
David, don't give it to him. Let him.
Yeah.
Steve. You know, old.
And he's got Homie Jimfo.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Nowhere near it. I mean,
All my
he was a good player.
He's I mean, part of a Molde team that sort of stormed the league or dominated the league last year. Got to the Europa League this year for the first time. And he's 30 though, so he's not one that's going to sort of kick on and have a career elsewhere. Probably he's done well for Molde. Been a good part of their team. I think he's lost a little bit of pace recently, so that's kind of why he's become a bit more of a target man. But yeah, no, Omi Wanfo and Lecky James, they're sort of two strikers that Molde have. They're both two of the better strikers in the league, and he's definitely Molde are a good side. They've done well in the Europa League this year. Obviously, they played Arsenal, our Arsenal reserves last week.
No, that's the Arsenal team, David. That's the Arsenal team, mate.
So yeah, I mean, they've got Molde have a little bit of not an aging team, but they've got a few aging players. Wolveg, Omi Wanfo. They have a few players that definitely need to replace some of their better players, so maybe that's why they're so far off Glimt this year. Maybe in a little bit of a transition.
Yeah. I got one more question. So you've seen the progression of the Norwegian league. Do you think we're going to see Norway at the next, obviously not the Euros, but the next World Cup? And how far do you think they can get if they get into it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was expecting Scotland to have to beat them to get to the Euros, but they didn't.
Don't worry, I'll ask you a question about Scotland.
Congratulations, by the way.
I wasn't going to let you come on and not speak about Scotland. We go there.
It was a huge disappointment when they lost to Serbia. There's a lot of sort of disappointment with the manager. So Lars Lagerbäck's the manager, obviously famous for being the Iceland manager when they beat England, I think, at the, what was that, Euro 2016? When did they beat England?
These kind of things we put in our subconscious and try to
forget. Sorry. Anyway, so Lars Lagerbäck, so he's the manager, and he plays a very, very rigid 4-4-2, very old school sort of defensive. And it really isn't suiting the players that we've got just now in Norway. So obviously we've got Haaland, we've got Sørloth. I know he didn't work out at Palace, but he scored 31 goals or 32 goals for Trabzonspor last year.
I was going to say that.
Haaland is obviously going to be one of the best strikers, if he's not already the best striker in the world. Ødegaard, who it seems like he's been around for years. He's only 21, Martin Ødegaard. He is a cracking little footballer. Just the way he carries the ball and the way he takes the ball, and you're so aware of who's around him and stuff. He's a lovely footballer. So they've obviously got Hauge coming through. Patrick Berg, who I mentioned before, he's 22. They've got Morten Thorsby, who's a regular at Sampdoria. He's in the squad. He's only 24. They've got some really good young players coming through. I think the manager could be an issue. If they don't replace him with a sort of more attack-minded manager, it could be a while, not be a while, but it could be maybe even another rotation until they get into a major tournament. But they've got the players. If they got to the World Cup, I'm actually not sure of the group for the qualifiers, so I'd need to check. But if they got there, they'd be ones to watch. You know, they've got great attacking players, and in tournament football, you need great attacking players. And it's definitely exciting.
Yeah.
I obviously expected them to be going to the Euros next year, but they're not, and so now they have another cycle to get through, and they've got quite a lot of sort of 20, 21, 22-year-olds that are almost ready to step in, and I think it's going to be a good time for Norway in the next sort of 10 years.
It is a bright future for Norway. I'll be checking out some of them players you gave us as well. Before you go, David, how happy are you that Scotland are finally back in a tournament?
Yeah.
You must have gone mental.
I was on a big Zoom chat with my pals. We were all watching it. I think I was about 2 minutes behind because my stream over here wasn't great. So I had to mute everyone and turn off the Zoom while I watched the penalties. But no, I mean when Serbia scored in the 90th minute, it was an absolute sickener, and I thought it was absolute classic Scotland. But yeah, oh god, I was so happy. I could hardly sleep after. It was just,
Did anyone see that video of that bloke taking a screenshot near the TV, and it just shows you him equalising, and then he looks at TV and goes, "Oh no!" It's unbelievable. And then his wife, she videos it while the penalties are going on. That's evil.
Yeah, well, you got through.
I'm glad they're in Euros.
I mean, it's been 22 years. You see, I don't know if you saw Ryan Christie, his interview after the game.
Yeah,
it means so much. It means so much. I mean, it's been really tough for 22 years. I mean, I was 11 years old the last time we were at a major tournament. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. It's been
How do you think you do, David? How do you think you do?
I mean, we were talking about it.
Do you think you get through the group?
Third place teams get through, don't they? Or 4 out of 6 third place teams get through. 3 0-0 draws.
I love that. Not a cheeky win. 3 draws.
Honestly, we just look so much better organised under Steve Clarke in the last few weeks.
Yeah,
last few games. We don't have a lot of goal scoring quality up front. Big Lyndon Dykes did really well the other night, but I don't think he's going to score his 30-40 international goals, put it that way. Defensively, we don't have any individual excellence, but if we can play as a unit, which we did, we can get through the groups, definitely. But honestly, I we'll just be happy to be there. To be going to Wembley, just hopefully fans are allowed in by the time it comes around, because Scotland going to Wembley in a major tournament is I mean, it's been 24 years since the last time, and Gaza scored that goal. But yeah, it's going to be really special if fans are allowed in. Let's just hope they are.
Yeah, I know. Scotland,
I think it's great.
Have some quality fans as well.
I think it's great Scotland to be there. I think it's,
No, it's good. It's good. David, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure. It's been excellent. It's been very good. I called you a Norwegian expert. You tried to shut that down. I'm not having it. You know your stuff, mate. You know your stuff. And you're welcome on any time, man. Welcome on any time, definitely.
Cheers. I really enjoyed it. Cheers for having me, guys.
It's going to have to come back. I've got about 3 lists of players here.
Yeah. Steve did have filled out and wrote a novel.
Steve, you're cutting out.
All right. Thanks for coming on, David.
Cheers,
definitely have you on again soon, man.
Cheers, guys.
All right. Take care, mate.
Cheers, David. Thanks, mate.
Right.
Cheers.
All right. So it's that time. No, it's not quite that time, actually. We've got the Guardian top 60. We'll go over to Jerome. Giving Jerome the Guardian top 60.
Oh, let's get me a cup of tea and me biscuits.
Here we go. Feet up.
You say this.
Biscuits, cup of tea.
You say this.
No pressure, Jerome.
The trouble with the Guardian top 60 is these players are very young. So it's not hours and hours worth of footage of them. That's the only trouble. However, we do have a little bit of info on a couple of them. So we'll start with a player that we've discussed already on the show, Emil Roback.
Should have gone Arsenal.
Yeah, well, apparently a deal was agreed.
Yeah,
but he decided to go to AC Milan instead. So that's where he now is. He's at
It was
AC
his
Milan.
agent. It was his agent that actually pushed him to go to AC Milan.
Right.
Probably more money for agent.
Who knows?
So he signed for AC Milan from a team called Hammarby, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who's now at AC Milan, he's actually a part owner of Hammarby.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe there
You
was.
don't just hear about players on here. You hear about clubs. You get facts. All right, carry on.
Yeah. So he's a Swedish youth international. He plays for the Sweden under 17s. Very technically gifted, but I'm not sure what his best position is, to be honest. I'll tell you who he reminds me of a little bit when he first came on the scene. The way he plays is Jeffrey Adelaide, who used to be at Arsenal. A little bit like him, quite tall, very very skillful for like a tall player.
Yes.
Can play probably attacking midfield, probably not on the wing.
Drops deep, doesn't he?
Yeah, he moves all around the pitch. But yeah, he signed for about €1.5 million was the transfer fee. AC Milan bought him for. One to look out for, because he's. It seems as though he's got all the skills. Just about, I think, finding. He's still so young, so he maybe won't play a lot this season, but in the coming seasons, perhaps. I guess it's an investment for AC Milan that it's not too much money for them.
Definitely one to watch.
Yeah. The next player is a USA youth international that goes by the name of Moses Nyman. He's only just turned 17 and he plays central midfield for DC United. He was actually born in Liberia, but he moved to America, I think, when he was about 13. He's tiny. He's 5'5" and he plays central midfield. And he's sort of, I guess, a deep midfielder. So the similarities you can look at are, I guess, like an N'Golo Kante. Very secure on the ball. Doesn't get pushed around for someone that's sort of so short. I believe he's actually trained with Dortmund under 19s. I'm not sure when this was, but I believe he's trained with those guys. He's one of like America's brightest prospects, which is why he's on the Guardian top 60 list.
Which is why Dortmund have got him in training with them, because they've got a fast track for these American players.
Yeah, the next Christian Pulisic.
Yeah.
We've got loads of them. We've got Rainer as well. Germans going to America. Do you know what I did hear? Some of it's down to the fact with the crossover with the Germans and the Americans that's either already lived there, because of when they had US had post in Germany, some of the army post in Germany. So they've got a lot of Americans that grow up there. That's why they have this crossover sometimes. So yeah.
So they're the two from the top 60 this week.
Thank you very much, Jerome. Thank you very much. It's time for the transfer roundup. Let me just say hello to the people in the comment section and give a little shout out to Dave again. If you missed it, don't worry, you can catch it. We're going to put the show out again afterwards. You can catch the show again from the start. We had the quick fire round at Nathan, who was answering all our Man United questions. Very good. And then we had Dave Weatherston on from Norwegian Expert and the Gambler podcast. Make sure you go and check them out. Obviously, please gamble responsibly and all that. Now it is time for the well-renowned transfer roundup. How you doing, Jonathan Cox? Peter G. Hey, that's that guy, Peter. How you doing, Peter? Good morning. Good morning. He's from Australia. He's probably up at about 3 o'clock in the morning watching this. Thank you very much. Love the dedication, Peter. Let's go. There's growing concern at Manchester United about Great Mason Greenwood's application in training. We spoke about that earlier on with Nathan, and he gave his insight into what he would do. And there's a little bit of a message for any of you guys that are trying to make it as pro or even playing at semi-pro levels and trying to get through. Little message for you in there. Go and have a look back. Juventus are very interested in Manchester City's Phil Foden. wow. I mean, that's their golden boy. But does the manager rate him? That's the real question. Barcelona may be forced to hold on to Ousmane Dembele after hearing about Ansu Fati's injury. Although, as we know, the whole situation with Barcelona is a very sticky one. So I don't even
it's
know.
Still going. The fire sale is still going.
I don't think they really have a choice because they're in trouble. Like if someone says, "Oh, we need to keep this 250 grand a week player that we hardly ever play, on the books, just in case," because Ansu Fati's injured, the bailiffs will turn around and go, "No, thank you, sell the asset." So it's just not like that. Bayern Munich have made contact with Manchester City and Chelsea target Dennis Sakara over a move. However, the midfielder wants to join Manchester City in the summer. Jerome, you had a little look at him. I've had a few questions from people asking what kind of a player he's like. So what we do, people, just before we go to Jerome, is when you guys ask what player is, what kind of a player he is, what's he like, what's he about, this is when I usually go to Jerome to have him to ask him, what do you think this player? Tell the fans what he's about. And this is why I'll go to Jerome, because he's like the player analysis guy. So Jerome, tell us about Dennis Sakara.
Dennis Sakara, God, excellent player. So he's 23 years old. He plays central midfield for Borussia Mönchengladbach, and he's been there since 2017. He is if you had to, I guess, pigeonhole him into a role, you'd say, I guess, he's a defensive midfielder. But one of his former managers said it's an insult to call him a defensive midfielder because he's so much more than that. He made his national debut for Switzerland when he was 19. He's very athletic, dynamic, skillful central midfielder. He's been compared a little bit Patrick Vieira. And
that's a poison chalice.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah, I know it's not good to get. I know people don't really like getting compared to players, but when you see him stride forward with the ball, you can see similarities there. For Switzerland, he actually plays in a double pivot with Xhaka, and he is a totally different player to Xhaka, I guess, maybe athletically, especially. He's linked with big clubs, and I can certainly see why. He looks to have everything that you'd want from a central midfield player. And I think since he's joined Mönchengladbach, he's really made like a big difference there as well. But yeah, terrific central midfielder.
Thank you very much, Jerome. Dennis Sakara, he's been linked with a fair few clubs, but it looks like he wants to be going to Man City in the summer. Manchester United wanted Jimenez in the transfer window, but ended up with Cavani. Manchester City. Steve, you got a little bit on Manchester City, have you? Mendy, was it?
Yeah, Man City. It looks like Pep's going to sign a new contract. That's what's coming out of City in a minute. So with him signing a new contract, it looks like it's only going to be a year. Although the supporters ain't happy that it's going to be a year, but it does look like it is going to be a year. So it's a matter of selling players on and saving money at the moment. I mean, it ain't a bad bonus to the fact that Messi would possibly come in January or the summer. It could be just due to the fact that Pep and Aguero are now going to stay, because Messi has turned around and said they are the reasons that he would go to Manchester City. But just going back to the left back position, because they're staying on, they're going to have to. Pep's going to have to shuffle things about. He's not going to be able to. He's not going to get big money, and one of the things that he's going to have to do is sell some players, and one of them players is Benjamin Mendy. What's gone on the right side for Manchester City, and this is the form of João Cancelo. He's been playing there.
He's
recently.
mustard.
He's been playing that skin. Yeah,
he is. He's mustard.
So he's been playing out of his skin. So you know he's more than capable of at least taking them through to January stroke to the summer easily. You know, and then if Pep leads in the summer and he just gets or whatever, to see what happens. But it looks like he's signing, and Klitschko would be the backup. So yep, that's where they are there.
Do you say Zach Steffen said he's not leaving him, wants Ederson's shirt as well?
Yeah, Zach Steffen. There's rumours about him going to Everton. A few other clubs. One's Newcastle, but he's came out today and he said that he's not leaving. He seems one of these players who's very sort of forthright in his speaking, stern in his words. He says, "I'm not leaving." He said, "I love it here, and the main I'm here and I want Ederson's shirt."
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's what you want, isn't it?
I love
what
that.
You want.
I
That's
love
what
that.
you want
And
from your players.
yeah, and that to me, yeah. Look, anyone that's been in a competitive football team will know, yeah, that if there's a guy that's in front of you that's got your shirt and you train with him every day, if he's saying that he wants Ederson's shirt, he really believes in himself that he could take that. He believes that he's better than Ederson. He sees him every day in training, and he rates himself. So you got to love that. You got to love that competitiveness in the team.
But a lot of people will obviously raise their eyebrows, wouldn't they? A lot of people will raise their eyebrows and think, because a lot of people won't know who Zach Steffen is. But look, I'll tell you what, he's an excellent goalkeeper.
Yeah,
he's a very, very good goalkeeper. And yeah, I think Man City fans should be well pleased to get someone like him.
Yeah. PSG. This I had to laugh at this one. PSG will consider a move. No, sorry. This is Juventus would be open to doing a swap deal with PSG for Cristiano Ronaldo and Neymar. And I was like, "Oh, of course she would be." Well, of course she would be. Of course, you'd be open as a Juventus. You'd be open to doing a swap deal with Cristiano Ronaldo for Neymar, someone who's like 5, 6, maybe 7 years younger than him. I mean, is that really a swap deal that's going to favour PSG? You're only going to get Cristiano Ronaldo for what, 2 seasons? I just think it's a bit nuts. Arsenal among a number of European clubs that are interested in Sao Paulo forward Brenner. Jerome, not many people would have heard of Brenner. What's he about? What's he saying?
Nah, he's got a big old release clause. He's he's 20 years old. It's sort of just although he's been at Sao Paulo since 2017, this has been like his breakthrough season. And he's contracted there till 2022. So, although he's got a £45 million release clause, you know, the closer that gets to that end of that contract, that price could come down a bit. Yeah. I guess he's 5'9". He's a little bit similar to Gabriel Jesus. I think he's an excellent finisher, very lethal, and a lot of his goals tend to be sort of in and around the 6-yard box. So, in that aspect, you can sort of call him like a fox in the box. But he, like Jesus, he does pick up other positions around the pitch. He doesn't just stay central. He's got his goal record's quite good. He's got 21 goals in about 56 games, just for a 20-year-old. But I don't know whether the physical aspect of the Premier League would be a bit much for him at the moment.
Has he got pace?
Yeah, not blistering, but he's quick enough. But I think it's just his finishing that I think sets him apart from other strikers.
Yeah, maybe Arsenal with his contract running out in 2022, maybe they're probably thinking they might be able to strike a deal because it's not realistic asking for 45 million. But a lot of these clubs have release clauses like that just in case they become something special. So Jamie Carragher believes that Manchester United should sell Paul Pogba, and Le 10 Sport came out about 2 days after that and said Manchester United will be selling Paul Pogba. It makes sense. It makes sense for them to sell him. It makes sense, and it's not based on anything on necessarily the way people feel he is as a player, but he's a player who has not signed a new deal when he had a year left, or this was his final year. They've activated the year extension on his contract, but that to me says, okay, this is your opportunity to sell me. Otherwise, I will just go on a free again. So yeah, watch this space. It looks like it's going to be probably one of the two, which is Real Madrid or.
He's not lived up to it. He's not lived up to expectations, has he? I mean, for one, you take his price that they bought him for. For two, you look at his form when he was at Juventus. For three, you look at his form at France, and then you look at his form for Man United.
Yeah,
and it's nowhere near. It's like chalk and cheese.
It's nowhere near.
No, but it's a flop.
Right, slow down. But it's nowhere near yet. But
last
season,
I agree with Simon.
Yeah, but last season, he was one of Man United's best players. Like he was one of Man United's best players, stat-wise. Talking to Man United fans, he was very, very good last season, and he didn't have the team around him. What I will say is Paul Pogba hasn't lived up to his expectations. He hasn't, but he also hasn't played in a position consistently, which he should have been playing. The same position he was playing for France, the same position he was playing for Juventus. So you bought a 80 or 100 million pound player, and you've played him in a completely different position to what the position you bought him for. So, yeah, do I think that the next club he goes to, he'd be a much better player? Yes. I think he'd be 10 times better than when he was at Man United. I think he'd be the Paul Pogba that Man United bought, if I'm honest, because I don't think he's turned into a worse player. I just don't think he's fits the system or has been played in the system that Man United bought or played. So
just believes his own hype, especially when he comes out with comments saying it's such a nice bit of like a breath of fresh air to get away from Manchester and link up with the French national team, experienced players that I know how to play to. It's like what an absolute disgrace. I don't like him. I think he's overhyped. He's done nothing in the Premier League. He's done nothing in the Premier League. When he first came to Manchester United, he thought he was bigger than Man United. Fair enough, he's a young kid. I get that. And he's playing under 23s. Alex Ferguson saw straight through him. You think you're bigger than Man United? There you go. You can go. So they sent him to Juventus. He plays in Juventus. That's what I mean. He plays in Juventus. He plays in Italy. It's too easy for him, the league. He's all these tricks and flicks, scores goals.
No, I can't agree with that.
Scores goals, makes assists, looks like an absolute dream of a player, comes to Manchester United for 90 million, and Mourinho basically didn't even want him. It was Man United that brought him back. Plays his first game for Man United, and it's got hashtag Pogba all over the stand. Sir Alex Ferguson said when he saw that it were a disgrace and he felt physically sick.
Did he put that up himself?
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
No, if you go back and look on where the teleprompters are and stuff.
But
hashtag
did he
Pogba
put that himself?
It's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
You're not answering my question. Did he put that himself?
Well, I don't know if he put it himself, but Alex Ferguson said it were a disgrace.
I'll answer that for you. No, he didn't put it himself. Man United put themselves because they believed the hype. They built up that hype. If you want to bring a player back down to the ground, it's not by putting hashtag Paul Pogba around the ground. If you think that this geezer's ego is massive, don't put hashtag Paul Pogba around the ground, because what that does is that feeds his ego and makes him think, do you know what? I came here thinking I am the bollocks and I am the nuts, mate. The club... mate, this is Man United.
I still think he had a say in it.
Why?
I still think he had a say in it.
So what? So what? He has a say in nothing except for you're playing or you're not playing. If he says, could you put hashtag Paul Pogba around the pitch? You could tell him to piss off. Like, come on, man. This is the club versus the player. Like, seriously. Like, what? If Aubameyang turned around to Arsenal and said, go and put just my number and Aubameyang around the stadium, do that, yeah? What would you say? You'd say, no. But instead they went, all right, cool. And that's making the assumption that Paul Pogba told them to do it. or were they feeding off of the hype that was already there? Because this is one of his entrance video is the first entrance video, a signing video that a club has done in England. He set that trend, or Man United set that trend with him. They used Stormzy for it. It was massive. It got me hyped, and I'm not even a Man United fan. So they have used that hype. Like, it's all well and good saying this is the player, but this is the club feeding off the player. They're not stupid. They ain't stupid. And
I think the word is. I think what the word is. The word is expectations, right? Expectation, and we all know he's a good player. I've seen him what he does for Juventus. I've seen what he does for France, and on his day, he's world class. But at Manchester United, he has not lived up to expectations.
No way.
He's played up, and he's messed around, and he should be sold. And let him go on to someone else.
What was the length of his contract?
Let him be the Paul Pogba that we know.
What was the length of his contract when he signed? Were it a 4 or a 5?
He signed another contract during, I think, hasn't he? Hasn't he signed an extension since?
I don't know. I thought he signed one, didn't he? Because when the Mourinho were there, because he's only been there for Mourinho. He weren't there for LVG, were he? Because Mourinho were manager.
No. It was Mourinho that signed him.
Yeah, so it's Mourinho. Yeah, so he's only signed one contract, so he's been there for about 5 years then. I wonder how much he's cost Manchester United in price tag, wages. I'm not saying image rights, because that's not to do with Man United. That's Adidas and who he's wearing, all that. I get that. I wonder how much it's cost him, because it's cost Arsenal 157 mil for Ozil. So I wonder how much it's cost for him. Yeah. And he went for more. And I class both of them as flops.
Again, it's like Man United wouldn't have lost anything on this, because if you look you have
they've lost nothing.
You have to take in what they get back from the player.
If you're going through shirt sales and advertising and all that,
you have to take in what you got from the player, because it's like
he holds the record, doesn't he, in England for the most shirt sales? I think he does. I'm sure he does.
I don't think Man United would have. I don't think United would have lost out on anything, and probably gains. Look, he sells shirts, he sells papers, he sells whatever. So yeah, Man United ain't lost out on anything there.
Anyone in the comments? Just type in how much, if you can get it by Google.
Huh? Go on. I'll Google it.
Is that the reason why they're keeping him? Because of the money that he's making them?
Yeah. Honestly, I think it is. I think a little bit of it is, and they believe. Like, I think, yeah.
You still stick his name on the back of a shirt. You still stick him on posters with Adidas. He's going to make you money.
Look, we're talking about expectations. So,
yeah,
you're saying expectations of what he should have been to what he is. Now, if this wasn't Paul Pogba and this was some normal player, I don't think we'd be saying he's been crap, he's been this, he's been that. I think because your expectations are up here, because he hasn't been that bad. Like, it's just your expectations are of £100 million player, and you're probably seeing a £40 million player. So it's levels. Is it your expectations or their expectations or his expectations?
Yeah,
it's a tough.
But I think when you see a player, when you're watching a player, when you know what they can do, you look at Pogba and you think, well, I know what you can do week in, week out, and I'm sitting here in the stand, and you're just being an average normal player when you ain't an average normal player. So what's up? What's going on?
Didier Deschamps said it the other day.
You said a normal.
Go on, sorry. Go on.
I think he's finished.
No, you, Steve. She's a normal player. Go on.
Finish your dinner, lad.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Yeah, no. I was just saying, if you said if you was just someone was saying we get the up with Mesut Ozil, yeah. But we got the up with Mesut Ozil because we know who he is. We know what he can do. We know on his day he's a world class player.
Yeah.
So when we was watching on the pitch, we was looking and thinking, what are you doing? You're just looking an average normal footballer, but you're not an average normal footballer. So fans and everyone's going to be upset, and managers are going to be upset, and coaches are going to be upset because they know that you can do things that others can't do.
Well, we've watched him rip it up against England. I've watched him make English defenders look silly.
Oh, come on, Raul Fellaini destroyed England in a bleeding World Cup. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I'm just saying, as a Premier League, I do think he's a flop. He's never done a title challenge. He's never got close to breaking Thierry Henry's assist record. Ozil with the closest on 19, and then Kevin De Bruyne, I think, has equalled it. I know De Bruyne has had better players than Pogba has at Man United round him. I'd even put Man United's team have been better teams than what Arsenal have had. And Ozil had that connection with Alexis. I've never seen Pogba have a connection with a player at Man United like Ozil and Alexis were, if you can get where I'm coming from.
Yeah, but that kind of plays into my argument with systems and not being surrounded by the same. If you can't get a connection with any of the players that have been through a Man United, there's got to be an issue there. Yet he goes to France and he's connecting with them players. He's at Juventus, he's connecting with them players. Let's see. I can't stay on Paul Pogba. We've been on this for about 15 minutes.
I'll rip him on Twitter later.
All right. Arsenal have opened talks with
next week. Jerome can answer it in 2 minutes.
Yeah. No more Paul Pogba. Arsenal have opened talks with Dominic Szoboszlai and are considering a 22 million euro bid. 22 million English pounds is what? Talk about 25 million euros, which is a release clause. There's a story
I've
we
got
put
a bit
out.
of news on this as well.
Wait, hold on. There's a bit that was the story we put out about a week ago. Arsenal willing to break its release clause, 22 million euros, 25 million euros, 22 million pounds, the same thing. Simon, gone. So
the news that the news that I was told a few days ago, and basically with Dominic, Arsenal are in a very strong position on getting this player, and it could even be done in January because. We're going to come to this, I know we are, but I'm just going to say it. We know that this Mustafi is being linked to Barcelona. So like I said, we'll come to that in a bit. And that is 100% genuine. So basically, he's been linked over there. With Dominic, it is a 25 million release clause. The money that Mustafi will go to Barcelona will fund the first part of the move for Dominic as the release clause because it'll be done in 3 installments. Basically, his agents come out and told you that AC Milan are out of the running. I can categorically tell you now, AC Milan are not in the running. There's only Arsenal and Leipzig that are in the running. The thing with Leipzig is the fact that because they're feeder clubs, that Salzburg are trying to push him to Leipzig, but his agent is trying to push him to Arsenal. A deal's already been done with Arsenal. There's a contract already that's been agreed until 2024 with an option of another year. Salaries, don't need to worry about that. And then basically for Arsenal, it is a case of just a waiting game. But I do see Mustafi leaving in January. I see Sokratis going as well. And I also see Kolasinac going. I've been told Kolasinac is going in January. So that's 2 players gone already. So then 3 players leave. That will bring Dominic in.
Thank you very much for that update, Simon. I might as well jump to the Mustafi one now. So this one threw me off big time. Ronan Murphy tweeted earlier that Rudiger and Mustafi were on the shortlist for Barcelona. And I was like, what? You what? And now, anyone that knows Ronan Murphy knows that he's a respected journalist. He knows his stuff. He's got very good connections around Christian Falk and all that.
You're right, Jerome.
I think I'm living in a parallel universe. How can you start with Barcelona?
Because it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
No, you can't say
it does.
Wait, stop. Have a time. You can't turn around here and say Mustafi and Barcelona makes perfect sense.
It does.
What it is, is
I can prove it.
Wait, it's not. But no one is denying that the story is not true. Like this is in respectable outlet. Like it's in a respectable outlet. But the story actually says top of the list for Barcelona is Eric Garcia. If Barcelona cannot get Eric Garcia, they will go for Rudiger. If they cannot get Rudiger, they then will go for Mustafi. Let's not cut out all the middle of the story, because there's two key players that they want to bring in, either ahead of Mustafi. One of them being their long-term target, which is Eric Garcia. The other one is
there's only one way they're getting him.
Rudiger. Yeah, Rudiger. And the third one is Mustafi, who they only actually want to take on a loan. But it benefits Arsenal either way, because they'll still be getting a player off the books, and they'd probably be making about $1 million or something like that.
Is this Mustafi thing in for January?
Yeah. So people may be thinking, there's no way. He's got a year. He's got 6 months on his contract. What? Do you know what? It winds me up when people say this, because if you don't actually know how it works, don't just talk rubbish. Because Arsenal, went out and got Cedric when he had 6 months left in his contract and paid £2 million for him. So it happens. Players that have a year left on their contract, players that have 6 months left in their contract, they do go to clubs, they do go on loans, they do get bought. You may be thinking, what's the point? Because he could just get him a free at the end of the season. Because teams need players now. If you need a player now, you don't go, oh, do you know what? He's on at the end of the season on a free, so I'll just go without that time being. And we just struggle with no defenders. That's not how it works. If you need a player, you get the player. It actually would work in the club's favour, because it will be an easier deal to get if a player's not got left in their contract and they're offering the club money for him, unless it's David Alaba. Another story. I might as well just roll into that very smooth. David Alaba only has 6 months left in his contract, and Bayern Munich have actually said they are not willing to sell him. They're not interested in any few millions, they said. But another story that came out, that Juventus are leading the way for Alaba, which was a bit of a surprise.
That's one of the last. He said there's no chance that he's going.
Yeah, I think it was his dad that came out and said that the style of football does not suit David Alaba. They've looked quite intensely into this, and which I loved it when I heard that. And Juventus doesn't suit his style of play, because he wants to be an attacking fullback. And another thing that I keep on hearing is when he's linked to clubs like Liverpool, and I think to myself, what position? And there's people that say, well, centre back. Well, David Alaba does not want to play centre back. He does not want to play centre back. He wants to play left back because he wants to get forward. Like it's like turning around and saying that Saka is a left back. Oh, just get him in the left back. No, he doesn't want. He wants to play forward. He wants to play as a winger. Don't put these players in positions that they don't want to play in. Don't buy them for clubs like in your head, because they don't want to play there. So David Alaba wants to play left back. The clubs that are in for him are Juventus, Manchester City, and
Madrid.
Real Madrid. And personally, I see him going to Man City or Real Madrid. I mean, if I was David Alaba, I'd probably go to Real Madrid. Galactico, final contract. It would just, you know what I mean? It's Real Madrid. I mean, Man City, they're nuts, but it's Real Madrid. And it's just one of them.
It's where he wants to be as well.
It's just one of them. Yeah, it's one of them. The end story. Do you know what I mean? End game. When you talk about end game, it's Real Madrid, not Juventus, as we've previously heard from Hosam Aouar.
Would be good to see, though, that won't take Kyle Walker and Alaba going forward. That'd be good to see.
Kyle Walker's had a very good start to the season. They looking to keep Steve, because there was talks that they were looking to replace him.
Yeah, there was talks, but he's improved.
He's improved. He has.
He's playing the game now. Before he was sort of what Pep turned that come round and he actually said was that Kyle Walker was, he wasn't getting forward enough. He was getting lackadaisical in training, and he had to up his game. And to be fair to him, yes, he has upped his game, and and he looks like he's he's quite safe there now.
Yeah. And that leads on to like so when we put out a little bit of transfer news, especially early on in like as the windows just shut and we got a bit of information after that, I had a lot of people asking me, are we still in for this? Are Arsenal still in for that? Are Man City in for this? The thing is, things massively change in football. Zinchenko was getting sold in the summer and he started the season well. They also had, what's his name? Who's the ones that you said earlier on, Steve, that's dropped into position?
Cancelo
as well.
That's the one.
João Cancelo as well. So at one stage, these clubs are going to buy them. It's like Arsenal and being linked with someone. And then to people's dismay, El Nene starts smashing it up. Now, in Arsenal's head, that would work in their favour to think, okay, low wage, happy to sit on the bench when needed, low maintenance. Do we give them a 2-year extension or do we go out and buy someone? And this is the things that you have to think about as well. Situations change when players start playing better, players start playing worse. Situations change. So you can get a bit of transfer news and 2-3 months down the line, it completely changes because the situation changes. So yeah, Wes, and girls, obviously, just bear that in mind when you hear a bit of transfer news as well. Lost where I am now. Oh dear, I've done some freestyle transfer news there. Oh yeah, here we go. A host of clubs from France, England, and Italy, including AC Milan and PSG, are monitoring RB Leipzig defender Nordie Mukeli. Tottenham have put Marcel Sabitzer on their shopping list. I mean, he's a very good player. And he's a very... Is it me or is he a Tottenham type of player as well? It seems like he'd be a good fit.
Don't say that.
No, but he would be. It seems like he'd be a good fit. It seems like
that's what I mean. Fit. That's what I mean. Don't say that because he really is.
He is, isn't he?
He really is.
He would suit. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. He's a very good player. Arsenal among a number of clubs in England, along with Manchester United, that are interested in RB Leipzig defender Ibrahim Konate. And this is one player who I was quite surprised. A lot of people asked, "Is he any good? Is he any good? What's he about? What's he saying?"
He's better than Upamecano.
Well, because Upamecano's the one that everyone looks at. Now, I don't know whether everyone's actually watching Upamecano or everyone's just hearing the name Upamecano and going along with the trend, you know what I mean? And just hearing that he's a decent player. So, Jerome, you had a little look at him. What's he about?
Yeah, no, Simon might be right. I think it's a similar situation to Saliba and Fofana, where everyone's heard of Saliba, no one's really seen Fofana. And yet he's come in and he's been unreal. And I think this could be the same with Konate. Another one of these young French centre-backs that plays the under-21s. He's 6'4". He's got incredible physical attributes. He picked up a bit of an injury last season. He missed quite a lot of last season. But despite that, he's already played 74 times for Leipzig. Yeah, this guy's going all the way, I think.
You got him a free.
That's it. Yeah. I think he's up there. When you mention Upamecano, you can't not mention this guy in terms of like putting him in the same bracket. Very very similar. There's not much between them.
What kind of a defender is he?
I'd describe him as an athletically outstanding defender in terms of speed and strength, and he's fine on the ball as well. But I guess when Arsenal had Sol Campbell, got a defender there that he won't get out muscled. He won't get, even if he's playing against a quick striker, you're not going to see him getting beaten for pace. Just outstandanding.
It reminds me of Yap Stam.
He's a bully as well. He likes to, like as you've said many a time, he's very much on the front foot. Likes to get in there just as the ball's coming in, get his foot in, and then let the midfielder or striker let him know that he's there.
Bit Sol Campbell, big, strong.
Like if he's just 1v1 against an attacker, the attacker's got to do something incredible to sort of get the better of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Arsenal also monitoring Christopher Nkunku. Juventus. We spoke about this. So, highly rated Leipzig manager Julian Nagelsmann is top of Manchester City's wish list if Pep Guardiola doesn't sign a contract. We'll just get onto that in a second. Manchester City and Liverpool are interested in bringing in RB Leipzig defender Dayot Upamecano, who has a 45 million release clause on his contract. Wolves are growing frustrated with Adama Traore, who is yet to sign a new deal, but agreed terms in principle last week. That would be a bit fuming. Aluko Dengati is back on the scene. Simon will jump to you in a sec. We've done a little video the other day. Aluko Dengati, or Dengat, sorry, is back on the scene. So in the video, basically, go and watch that video on our page. The long and short of it is he's done with all his looks like he's coming near to the end of all his business ventures, and as he said previously, he wants to come back in for Arsenal in 2021. The news that we've got is that he will be coming back in 2021. As I said in that video, what made my ears prick up is the news that I'd had previously from one of my other links, was that Tim Lewis has actually come into Arsenal to streamline the business, if there was a potential sale. Now, I'll say it again. It's not to streamline the business to sell Arsenal. It's to streamline the business to, if there was a potential sale, it would be as smooth as possible. So if there's no sale, they've still streamlined the business as you would when you get in an auditor to make sure there's nothing untowards or any things that are just getting shoved under the carpet and things like that. They've got Tim Lewis in to not just do a normal audit, but they've got him in to streamline everything just in case there was a sale. Dengati has said that he wants to come back, and it looks like he will be potentially making a bid for Arsenal in 2021. Whether that will be successful, we don't know. I think hope for a lot of Arsenal fans is that it is successful, because they don't believe that,
one thing, they
don't believe, money talks, and because they don't believe that Stan Kroenke has the club's best interest at heart when it comes to performance on the pitch, whereas Aluko Dangat is an Arsenal fan, and although that is to the detriment of some of these owners, you know that he's going to be, first and foremost, he's going to be like a bloody sugar daddy on a cheat game on Champ Manager, which is just absolutely pumping in everything that he's got. And he's a very rich man. He's a very, very, very rich man. If all his business ventures at the end of this year come in, it looks like it could be potentially worth nearer the 20 billion pounds mark, which is nothing to turn your nose up at, is it?
29 to 30.5 billion. That's how much it turned over.
And a little bit of digging, which I didn't even do, because I mean some of our followers are very insightful, and they actually told us that he'd put up the price in concrete in preparation for buying Arsenal. I don't know how true that is, but he did actually put up the price on concrete, so he's made money there. So please go and check out that video. Simon, did you have anything to say on it?
You want to say?
Did you have anything to say on it?
Not much. Not really. Not much as what we covered on the Instagram.
Yeah. So,
but like you said about Stan Kroenke, it looks like he hasn't got Arsenal's best interest on heart on the pitch, but off the pitch, everything else is done. That is to Arsenal, but that's also like to himself, if you get what I mean as well. Yeah,
it's very on the level where sometimes you need to take a bit of a risk. Yeah. Arsenal.
He uses Arsenal as his purse, doesn't he? When he wants some money, he goes to Arsenal and then he picks some money up and he takes it out, and then he goes and uses it for whatever he needs. For him to sell Arsenal, he's got to go and buy something else on the same ilk. It's going to be interesting
to keep his interest. Yeah, because it's like a social symbol, isn't it? It's like, I own a football club. Who do you own? Arsenal. Really?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? So it will be. I think it's going to take a lot of money,
especially how big football's getting now over in the States.
Yeah,
to own a club like Arsenal in London.
I think the only thing is that would pay in Dan Gatt's favour is the current situation with COVID. But then we've heard that there's a vaccine coming out, so it looks like it could be going back to normal anyway. So he probably needs to get a move on quickly. Chelsea will make another bid for Declan Rice in January. That was in Sport Witness. Liverpool considering a move for Netherlands and former Watford defender Daryl Janmaat, who is currently without a club. I mean, that was in what was that? That was on. I think that was in the Express. Free transfer. I mean, that would be. I think they'd be well. I think they'd be well. They've got no players. No players. Lionel Messi spoke about this earlier. Lionel Messi is open to a move to Man City when his contract expires. However, it's on the premise that Sergio Aguero and Pep Guardiola sign extensions.
Already making demands.
Yeah, Manchester. Yeah, I know. Manchester United.
It's down to the president.
The
president's got to come in then, and if whoever takes over, it's his job to try and persuade Messi to not do that. But that's obviously
that's not in their.
Are over.
That's not in their interest, is it? That's not in their. Like, it's nonsense. They've just kept Messi. I know it was because it wasn't done in a way where Messi should be leaving like that. Like everything Messi's done, everything that Barcelona and Messi have gone through together, for him to leave the way he would have done in the summer would have, like, if I was a Barcelona fan, it would have ripped a hole in me. He needs to go because they can't afford him. They can't afford to keep. They can't afford to keep him, but he needs to go the right way. So yeah. Manchester United have begun talks with Braga over defender Carmo. Jerome, what kind of a defender is he? Isn't he good?
Yeah, well, he's only just really sort of started playing regularly there in January. He's been with Braga for 5 years, but as I say, since January is when he's really started playing. He's a bit of a monster centre back, 6'5", 21.
Oh.
And he's actually signed a new contract till 2025, so it probably cost a bit of money. Now, he, like one of his fellow Portuguese, someone else that used to play for Portugal, Pepe, he loves a tackle. He's a bit rash. Yeah, in eight games, he's already got sent off once and picked up 5 yellow cards, nearly a card a game. He was actually part of the Portuguese under-19 side that won the Euros in 2018. But yeah, he's only like just sort of started playing regularly, really.
All right. Everton manager Carlo Ancelotti is to step up his campaign to bring in Real Madrid's Isco to Goodison Park.
Oh God! Take it in.
I know. And the thing is, I think Isco needs a new challenge as well, because as I was saying last week when Joan was on, Isco's he seems very heavy. He looks like he's overweight. It's
too much play.
Yeah, well, it's just no motivation. I just want to say, I just see a comment saying Messi didn't want to leave in the summer. It's always politics to force out the president. Nah, it wasn't the case.
No.
It wasn't the case. Far from the case, man. Messi wants a new challenge. He's been at Barcelona. Messi doesn't want to be a part of another transition with Barcelona. That's the whole issue. He doesn't want to go through he wants to be in a winning team. He doesn't want to be in a team that's building. That's why he's not got the motivation for it now, because he's not interested, and the president's not there. Yet he's still playing the same way because he doesn't want to be in a team where it's like, I can't do this again. He's 34, and he can't physically have to go into every game, and he doesn't. He wants to be a marquee player now. He feels he's done his business, and he just wants to be plopped into a team to be a marquee player.
Like Ronaldo and Bale.
Yeah, the deal was very much to Man City was very much on. Man City, put it this way, Man City thought they had Messi. That's how confident they thought they had Messi. So yeah, but I can understand why people were skeptical because he's done it many a time before. Ronald Koeman, this is another one. Ronald Koeman has added Ricky Puig and Charles Elena to the list of players who's willing to sell to bring in Memphis Depay and Eric Garcia. Jerome, you had a look at Ricky Puig.
Yeah.
How good is he?
Well, I think Steve might have seen him. He's like a stereotypical Barca central midfielder. He played a few times for the first team last season, but this season he's only played a few minutes. He seems really out of favour. They compared him to Iniesta. Is the sort of player he's been compared to over there. Always got his head up. He reminds me a little bit of maybe a little speedier, right-footed version of Wilshere, the way he plays. It's a bit weird how he's why he's fallen out of favour considering how much ability he's got. But
I think they're just trying to raise cash.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
They're just trying to raise cash, and they're probably looking. Look, we spoke about the Barcelona youth the other day. They've got Pedri, they've got the other players coming through. Not to be harsh to Puig, but he's 10 to a dozen in a Barcelona team. It would to gain 45 million for him to bring through a player who in 6 months' time could be near enough on his level is nothing for Barcelona. So
what would they get for him? What would they get for him?
30, 40 a push. It's tough times, so that's the problem why you might not get as much as you should do for him. But I think this is kind of the model that Barcelona need to get back to. Start just churning out some of these youth players that if they give them a few games, if they can sell them. If they actually got something for the squad, then keep them. Get in players that are young, and then mix that in with the experience they've got, because they just went and bought so many what they thought were ready players, and they just didn't fit the system. They're not Barcelona players. Like Griezmann's not a Barcelona player. He's not that he's a bad player, but they bought a 30-year-old for like 120 million. It's just their head's gone. Their head's completely gone. It's all over the place.
With this Ricky Puig, he is such a stereotypical Barca midfielder that I think he's obviously a good player, but to fit
hard
into
to find a club.
That's going to play the way that's going to suit him.
It's a bit like who was the one that was that went to Stoke in the end? It was meant to be the next Messi. Bojan, and he's not a bad player. He's not a bad player because on his day at Stoke he could rip it up. But he's a Barcelona player, and at Barcelona he was really good. Outside of Barcelona, he's all right. And on his day he's good. So I completely agree with you, man.
He plays on that left. He plays on that left side, doesn't he? I think. Does he, Jerome?
That's it. Yeah, he's sort of in. So I guess when they play a 4-3-3, he'll be like the left sort of central midfielder.
Yeah. I mean, Sergio Dest can play up in that area, so I don't know if that's got something to do with it.
Yeah,
maybe. Possibly.
Very attacking fullback as well, Dest. So I mean,
maybe.
Yeah. Tottenham are set to make an approach for Schalke defender Ozan Kabak in January. Liverpool were linked to him as well, so we'll see what happens there. But very good source that has told us that Ozan Kabak and Tottenham, and there was a previous link before as well. So, and that was with one of our other sources. So the fact that two sources have not linked up together, but they're telling you the same thing. So it's very encouraging on that one. So I think that Tottenham will definitely be making an approach. Derby County. A parted company with Philip Cocu, and they're currently sitting bottom of the championship. Miserable. Tottenham and Chelsea and Liverpool are considering a move for Barcelona left back Alex Balde. How good is this kid? Because Ronald Koeman wants to fast track him in the team, which is the reason why Chelsea and Liverpool may be making a bid for him, because they want to get him before the hype gets around him.
Yeah, I can't see how they're going to let this guy go. He's like the Barcelona version of Alphonso Davies.
Is it?
Yeah, 17.
Not bad. Not bad then.
Yeah, he is absolutely rapid, like with the ball as well, not just sort of running without the ball. When he was, read a little story when he was at school. He used to have races with his classmates, and the teachers used to like let the classmates go first. Wait a minute, then he'd go, and he'd still win. But yeah, he's only made a handful of appearances for Barca's B team, like just a few. Played a few times for Spanish youth teams as well. But you're right. Yeah, Koeman wants to fast track him to the team, and so does the Spanish coach as well. Wants him to start playing as well with Spain. Yeah.
Oh, what? Wow.
Yeah.
So all right.
Something special there.
Yeah. We'll be definitely keeping an eye on him. Yeah. Ajax director of football Mark Overmars says he's ready for a new challenge, along with Edwin van der Sar, and they're being linked with Manchester United. Oof. Yes. Now this is a bit.
That would change him. Now that would change him.
Exactly. So discuss. Okay. Massive. I think we're going to have to hit Nathan up with this one next week because Ed Woodward would be gone if. Now there's a lot of talk about Ed Woodward, wanting to get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It kind of stinks of, okay, it's me or you, and I'm pushing you. But the Glazers are actually happy with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So how long would it be until the Glazers turn around and say, well, we can't keep changing the manager. Maybe it's the chief exec that needs to go. Which, to me, if the chief exec is not willing to be flexible with bringing in a director of football, then he does need to go.
He does, yeah.
I mean,
if you've got the choice out of Woodward or Overmars and Van der Sar coming to your club, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
It's a no-brainer. Who would you have? Sorry, surely you're going for Overmars and Van der Sar. I mean, Van der Sar, the leap that he's made from player to chief exec at Ajax has been okay. It's a smaller club, but it's massive. Like, you wouldn't have thought that a player who would have been retired for not long at all would be able to go into a club and be a chief exec for him and do the business there. What are you saying, Si?
Piss off.
What?
Overmars and leading Van der Sar at Man United, because that's a game changer. That's a game changer. That brings them back to the Premier League titles, possibly Champions League, and getting rid of Ed Woodward and basically putting these two in. Oh, it pissed me off so much because I love Overmars. I love him, absolutely love him. Arsenal legend, and if he went there, I'd have to erase him.
And look, Edwin van der Sar, he's because there was talk previously about maybe Ole going upstairs, but if you've got an Edwin van der Sar who's got that footballing brain, he knows what it's like to be a Man United player. You'd have
Ole as manager still. Ole would still be manager because them two would do all the work.
But a massive part of their problem was the connection between the chief exec and the manager. There's no middle ground. The manager's
these
not
two
getting the
can get any. These two can get any player over the line as well.
And the thing is, how many players would you be able to
suicide?
How many players would you be able to bring in from Ajax as well? With that connection there, it would be Van der Sar might have already had a word with Van der Beek. I was thinking that earlier.
I'm going to be coming soon.
I'll see you soon. Yeah.
I'll see you soon, mate. Because we was all saying that, we've all said, though, let's go to Man United. Do you know what I mean? What's he want to go there for? He can't get in the team. There's no space for him. There's this like bottled up midfield there. Why has he gone there? So you just never know. And it's a really good pairing because you've got Van der Sar, who I've come across as it's like a good cop bad cop combination. You've got the Van der Sar, who's the nice guy and talks nice, and you've got Overmars.
He's quite a hard ass, isn't he?
He is deadly.
he is
lethal.
Yeah,
I mean, he fell out with Bergkamp, didn't he? I mean,
Yeah.
that was the whole thing. What happened with him? But as a pair, mate.
Well, I'd like
Simon
to just
said, game changer.
I'd like to just announce
Simon
my I'm leaving the transfer exchange. It's been nice knowing you. I'm just going to go and jump off a bridge.
but it's not happened yet, so it remains to be seen. Liverpool and Everton are keen on Torino centre-back Gelson Bremer. AC Milan and Arsenal have made contact with representatives of Lille midfielder Babakayu Sumari. We had a story previously, I think about 4 or 5 days after the transfer window shut, that said that Arsenal will be going back in for Sumari. Potentially, they could be making a move for him in January. The story before that was that he's a replacement for Guendouzi. Personally, I don't see Guendouzi coming back. And it looks like he could be the long-term replacement for Guendouzi. So it remains to be seen whether Arsenal get him in January or they get him in the summer. But he's very keen on the move to the Premier League. He's turned down Newcastle, or to Arsenal. He's turned down Newcastle 5 times. He's also had talks with AC Milan previously, and he's also turned down Napoli as well. So
he's waiting for Arsenal. He's waiting for Arsenal.
It very much seems like he wants that move to Arsenal.
It's not just the Premier League. It's actually Arsenal. He's waiting.
Well. Just said he turned down Newcastle 5 times. So it's not just the Premier League. He's turned down Newcastle 5 times.
Don't succeed.
Yeah. I know you said no 4 times, but
What did his girlfriend live in Newcastle or something?
No, I don't know, mate. I don't know. But
keep going back.
No, he has turned him down. He said, "Nah, you sure, man? Nah, you sure, man? Nah." Yeah, so I'm giving up at 2, but persistence sometimes pays off.
We'll try again in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's not happening. Arsenal keeping tabs on Yusuf Shazari. Now, someone turned around to me earlier and said, "There's so linked with so many players." Yeah, well, because they need so many players. Look at the clubs that are being linked with players. Because they're clubs that need players. Like if you tell me that Arsenal don't need a player, you ain't watched football. So yeah, you don't see like Chelsea being linked with like a player all the time. Like Chelsea are linked with youth players at the moment, and that Dennis Zakari, because they need like one midfielder or they want Declan Rice, one of the two. So whereas Arsenal need about 5, so they're getting linked with a fair few, because each shortlist of player will have probably about 2 or 3 players on that shortlist for each position. So Arsenal keeping tabs on Yusuf Yazuri. Or Yaziki, I've written that horribly. After an impressive start to the season, he scored two hat tricks in the Champions League, didn't he? Jerome, you had a little look at him. What kind of a midfielder is he?
Yeah, he's 23. He's an attacking midfielder from Turkey. He's got an absolute wand of a left foot. Very technical and quite physical for, I guess, a playmaker. He produces like a few like wow moments. I guess up until this season, he don't score a lot of goals. He's played 24 times for Turkey, scored once. Last season he scored once in 25 games. But like you said, he scored a couple of hat tricks so far this season in Europe. He played all his career at a team in Turkey called Trabzonspor.
Yeah.
And when he signed for Lille for 17.5 million euros, that was the highest amount Trabzonspor's ever received for selling a player. It's just the sort of end product, I suppose, or the lack of goals. Because if you're an attacking midfielder, you need to really be contributing a lot, I think.
Does he get assists? What is he in and around the box? Does he put that through ball?
He'll make things happen, and he's a nice player to watch, but he just don't contribute with a lot of goals apart from
It's interesting. It's interesting to say that when Jerome just said he's would you say he was at Trabzonspor?
He was there.
Jerome, did you say? Yeah. I mean, as I say, I've said to you before, I'm no Arsenal man, but when it comes to like the transfers, I mean, Simon's the man. You should all go to for that. But I know for a fact where I got the little nod from was that the guy who I got it from, is actually linked deep into the actual club at Trabzonspor. So I didn't know that until Jerome just said it.
Yeah, Trabzonspor. That was from one of our own guys as well. So yeah, that was from one of our own guys. What I should start doing is I should start adding the sources to the. But you'll know the ones that are us because we always go in deep. I always go in deep. Have a little conversation with Jerome. Have a little pull up Simon, or I pull up Steve. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, but I will start putting the sources. It's just when I'm writing this down, it's a lot. It's a lot of people like trying to kill me. That's it. What a show that was. We had Nathan Ellington on. We had 2 ex-pros today. Yeah. One that's played in the Premier League, one that's played in the Scottish Premier League. Yeah. Levels. All right, I calm down right now. I calm down. All right, we had Norwegian expert on, Dave Weatherston, brilliant guest. Go and check out the Gambler podcast. Go and check out his blog page, like a Weatherston. Also, go and check out Nathan Ellington. He's going to be on here all the time. Eventually, he'll be doing his very own channel. He's building towards that, and it's going to be excellent. I'm looking forward to that. And obviously, we got the full crew in as well. So thank you for coming in. I'm going to go through the comment section quickly. Lyric Lokesh, thank you very much. Melvin, thank you very much. Always. How you doing, Melvin?
Melvin.
Anakin Etish. Peter G, thank you very much. Jonathan Cox, KS1 TV throwing in there. OMO E4, David Weatherston in the crowd. Oh, I agree with Kieran. Yeah. Great minds, David. Great minds. Glenn Cook in there. Oh, you're not Semantic SC. We had a little debate the other day. Love that you're back in here. He loves a little row. Got a lot of time for that. Football with Brownie. How you doing, Brownie? Thank you very much. All right. So that is it for the end of the show. I'd like to thank our scouts. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Simon. And thank you very much for joining us tonight, Steve. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody out there. Cheers.
And of course, thank you very much for joining us tonight, Jerome.
Ta very much.
Ta very much.
Voice.
The voice.
Voice.
This is the voice. Da, 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 da. Didn't even move my lips. See that? Multi-talented. All right. All right, people. Thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. People, I ain't even checked, and I feel like you ain't hit the like button enough.
Come on, boys, girls.
Hit it. Share it. Subscribe. We want this channel to hit 1,000 subscribers. Do you know what? Actually, we jumped up quite a bit the other day. We jumped to about 20 subs. But let's keep that going. Let's keep that cycle going. Let's keep the motion going, people. Thank you very much for joining us. Until next week, don't forget to check out the Football Next Generation show with Jerome. That'll be out Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Yeah. On that note, peace out. I nearly forgot my end in line. Stay safe. Wash your hands.